We're just getting set up here. Huge thanks to my husband, Dominic,
Yeah.
for getting
Let
us
me move
set
your
up.
mat back a little bit.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining me again for a live class.
Let me wait till everybody shows up.
I'm going to give a little time for people to show up and take a little peek at who is here already. Got to put on my glasses so I can read who's here. Andrea Fetterman! Howdy! Cloda. Awesome. Iona. Sharifa. Cool. Literally from around the world. I want to make sure that I say happy birthday to, oh, we're not getting sound.
Turn the mic on.
Oh. I bet if we turn on the microphone, it's gonna help. Still no sound? Or do we have it now? No sound.
Tell them to turn theirs up.
On Instagram. Sharifa!
Yeah, you're here.
Now is it better? Sound? Okay, good. We've got sound. Cool. Joe Ferraro, happy birthday. Mireille in Africa, happy birthday. I don't want to forget that. Yay. Hi, Dina. Okay, cool. We're working. And on Instagram or on Facebook, we have sound? We're good? Hi, Linda. Jen. It's so fun. All right, got to take off my glasses. Now I won't be able to see anything, but Dom will keep me posted about what's going on over there. A couple of things before we start the practice. I got some messages from you guys saying that you're playing your playlists while I'm doing this, which I think is so cool. And I'm going to actually give you some time in this practice where we're just going to flow and I'm going to stop talking. So if you have a playlist, you're going to be able to enjoy it. If you don't have one, I've got a couple of them, actually more than a couple, I've got like a bazillion of them up on Apple Music. So you could go rummage around there now, but you can also just make that your project for this afternoon. So, apparently I was way too close to you, Dom is telling me. Also, in terms of props, if you don't have props at home, it's fine, be creative. Shoe boxes are good, water bottles are cool. I'm trying to design practices that aren't super prop heavy. We're gonna start in a seated cross-legged position. I've got a cushion from my couch here that makes it a lot more comfortable for me sitting, so maybe there's something like that for you. Once you're seated comfortably, palms up or down, just take a second, let your eyes close. And we'll start to find our breath. Just allow your breath to come in and out through your nose. Appreciate the razor's edge of your feet against the ground, whatever your sit bones are seated against, like a root of groundedness. And the breath can start to scrape across the back of your throat, takes on a texture which in turn becomes a sound, finding your ujjayi breathing. And as we start, there's a quote that I've always heard associated with Thich Nhat Hanh called "No mud, no lotus." I think we're living it. And that feeling of kind of trudging through the mud is something that we're all doing together in a pretty unprecedented way right now. It even describes what it's like to get to our mat, even if we're just inside, and to get through a practice. And the lotus really is the beautiful blossom of intuition and awareness. So maybe we kind of hold that space as we practice today. Blink your eyes open you're going to take your right arm up to the sky, and then like you're patting yourself on the back, and then left arm out to the side, and maybe you clasp hands, but likely you hold on to the cloth of your shirt, or you just reach towards hands, and you keep breathing. And then we'll let that side go. You'll take your left elbow up to the sky. You can help it along a little with your right hand if you'd like. And then right arm, for you, I'm mirroring you, will come up and either clasp hands or hold onto your shirt. And just see where it's a little sticky. Send it some breath and love. And then release this side, arms out in front of you, right elbow on top of left elbow for Garudasana, eagle pose. You can also just turn it into a hug if it's a little sticky. And then unwind, and we'll rewind with the left elbow on top. Continue to find your breath rich, robust, deep, complete. And then unwind this side, and we're going to make our way into a modified Vashisthasana with your right knee down on the ground. So maybe you want something padding your right knee, and you can also curl your right toes under. And you'll come into that modified Vashisthasana, and what you're looking for in your right hip is basically the same recipe that we found in our seated cross-legged position. Now if this needs to be where you stay, great, perfect. Maybe lift your left leg and see if you can find some balance, in particular with that anchor of what was just moments ago, our seated cross-legged position. If it's wobbly, just remember, no mud, no lotus. Top arm can reach up and over, or you can stay put with the arm to the sky. Imagine a zipper, zippering together your bottom ribs and your hip points. We'll stay here for a few breaths. If it's bothering your knee, find some padding. You can double up your mat. You can also curl the right toes under. And then left arm goes up to the sky. We're going to plant that left foot down into the ground, and then we'll lift the right knee. And if you hate lifting the right knee, you don't have to. You can put it right back down on the ground. Maybe the top arm reaches up and overhead here. How's it going with the breathing? I would say this is some mud, no? 3 breaths here. And then we're going to make it plank with our knee to our chest. So right knee to the chest. You're in a plank position. If it's better, lower the left knee, the back knee to the ground. And then just stay for 3, just like this. And for 2. And then step the right foot in between your hands. Spin your back heel flat. We're going to take the right forearm thigh and the left arm up to the sky. It's a lot like our configuration on our shin, but now it's in a configuration that looks a lot like a warrior 2. Top arm can reach up and over if you'd like, and you can leverage a little bit of movement in the thoracic spine with your right forearm. Keep breathing. And we're just going to take the left arm up, come upright into warrior 2, so briefly it almost doesn't even happen, and then straighten the front leg. Turn your toes towards the long edge of your mat, hands on your hips, inhale, exhale, fold. Just take your hands either to your shins or your ankles, or you can make a peace sign, then put it between your big toe and your first toe. Inhale, heart extends, and then exhale, just see how things are going in the backs of the legs and really the whole back body. Your weight's going to drift towards the balls of your feet, and there's a little fluidity to this motion, so you want to keep a little bit of bend in your knees, especially those of you who are quite pliable. And we'll let go of the big toes, bring your hands to your mat, bring your knees to your mat, and we're going to take the second side of that modified Vashisthasana, and I'm going to turn to the back edge of my mat just so I'm not turning my back on you. You don't have to do that unless you want to. You can curl the bottom toes under, remember? And then it's left hand down and right arm up to the sky. We're still looking for initial cross-legged seat in our load bearing our left hip. And then just play with it, or stay here if it's better, and lift that right leg up. It's very tempting to turn this into a giant back bend, especially if you're quite bendy. So see if you can zipper together, find that idea of bottom, ribs, and hip points, moving towards, not away from each other. So it just indicates that there is a little turning on of the core. Top arm can reach up and over, unless you're kind of digging it up to the sky. It's like a karate kick with your right heel. Your gaze, if you're gazing down, is a little easier probably for balance. That's what I'm doing. You can look sideways or up if you're quite gifted at all of this business. Last couple breaths here. And we're going to take the right arm up and we're going to stamp the right foot into the ground, and then you'll elevate your left knee. And remember, you don't have to do this part. If it's too much or you're just not digging it, then bring your knee back to the ground. It's no problem. Maybe top arm up and over. Keep breathing. Sneaky little bit of core work right out of the gate here. 2 more. It becomes that plank, right, with the left knee towards your chest, and then we linger in it long enough that it gets a little bit juicy, just a little bit. You can put the right knee down on the ground if it's a little too juicy, and then just listen to your breath. Great, we're gonna step left foot in between the hands, back heel, right heel spins flat, left forearm across the thigh, right arm up to the sky. Let the emphasis of the weight in the front leg be in the heel of your left foot, and then the outer edge of that right foot is solid. Top arm up and over, familiar terrain. And you can leverage a little bit that idea of some twist through the thoracic spine. So your left forearm is just turning your bottom ribs a little bit towards the sky. A couple more breaths here. And we're going to take the right arm up to the ceiling. We'll come up super briefly to warrior 2. And again, we'll just straighten that front leg. Turn the toes to face the long edge of your mat. Interlace your hands behind your back this time. Inhale, lift your heart, and then take a forward fold into Prasarita Padottanasana C. Again, find that like little teeny bit of soft bend in the knees. Your head's relaxed. Let your tensions and anxiety and whatever else just fall into the floor. Head and neck in particular, just let it go, let it go. Then bring your hands to your hips, firm through the feet in the belly, and come all the way upright. Step to the front edge of your mat. Either feet together or hip distance. Hands can be in a prayer or arms along your side. And then just take a moment to stand in your mud and to stand in your mountain. Tadasana. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Inhale, look forward. We're going to step to a plank. And we'll be in plank for a moment. So if you prefer, put your knees down. Push the ground away so that you feel less like it's collapsed and more like there's an integrity to the whole 360 degrees of your core. Your gazing point, your drishti, is just really at the front edge of your mat, so the back of your neck feels long and spacious. 3, just like this. And 2. Now, you're simply going to bring your knees to your mat, right underneath where they were, so it's not like hands and knees for cat-cow, and it becomes a modified chaturanga to start. So bend your elbows, and then let your shoulders and elbows be as close to the same line as possible. And pause here. It's actually not as easy as it might seem. Straighten the arms. Great. Either 2 more times just like that, or take your knees off the ground now, and we'll take a chaturanga and come back into plank or modified plank that's what you're doing. Chaturanga, and back into plank or modified plank. One more time, chaturanga if you don't mind. 3 breaths here. And then we're gonna come all the way onto our belly. Interlace your hands like we just did in that forward fold, and then swap it out so the unlikely pinky is on the bottom. And go forward and up with your chest. Drag your knuckles towards the back edge of your mat. Lengthen through your legs, pressing down especially into the pinky toe side of the foot. Maybe they lengthen so much that they too come off the ground. And then you can feel that there's some strengthening in the posterior chain. That's just a fancy way of saying in your back body. And you can feel your diaphragm muscle working against the ground. You can feel how it lowers down when you inhale and rises up when you exhale. 3 breaths here. Breaths that you're really witnessing against the tactile surface of the ground. I kind of nerd out on that sort of thing. Now just release it down. Bring your hands next to your ribs. Curl your toes under. You can leave your knees down, but in one piece we're going to plank all the way up. Pause. You can bring your knees to the ground if you'd like to. Chaturanga. This time, cobra or upward facing dog. Pause. Drink it in. Enjoy. And then downward facing dog. And we take a few breaths. And we have the ingredients for our Surya Namaskara A. High onto your tiptoes, take a look at your hands. Either walk or float, feet to the hands. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise and reach. And then find your mountain and pause. Surya A, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. Walk back or float back. Chaturanga. Upward facing or cobra. Some people add an extra chaturanga here, so maybe that's you. And then downward facing dog. And a few breaths here. High onto your tiptoes, glance at your hands, walk or float all the way in between them. Inhale, heart reaches. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, rise and reach. And then pause, Tadasana. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward, walk or float. Chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. Maybe that extra chaturanga, and then downward facing dog. Deep breaths here in our home base. Inhale high onto your tiptoes. When you exhale, walk or float, feet all the way in between the hands. Inhale, little back bend. Exhale, fold in. Inhale it all the way up. And then hands in prayer, or maybe you prefer along your side. 2 more rounds. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Walk back or float back. Chaturanga. Inhale. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Great, last one of these A's. High on your tiptoes, take a look at your hands, walk or float there. Inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up, and then pause in your mountain. I'm just going to guide the breath this round. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Then a few breaths here in our downward facing dog. High onto your tiptoes, walk or float your feet to your hands. Inhale, heart reaches. Exhale, fold in. Utkatasana, the beloved Utkatasana. You're going to shift back and down. And then if it's tight in your shoulders, if this business that we did in our seated cross-legged position was a little tough, arms can be in front of you. They can be a little bit wider. So it doesn't mean that you have to struggle. You get to design it so that it makes sense. Gives you just the right amount of feedback to sink your teeth and your breath into something. A few breaths like this. You want to really move the weight into the heels. I like to lift all my toes to kind of just feel that and not make it merely intellectual. Your breath is just like our seated cross-legged, even though maybe the feedback that you're starting to get is a little different from our seated cross-legged position. Stay with it, breath by breath by breath. I would say at this point, maybe a little bit of mud. No? Possibly? 2 more. We're going to sit all the way down into the mud, as it were, and into our Navasana. You can keep your feet on the ground. You can hold the backs of your legs if you'd like to. You can pick up your feet. You can straighten your legs if that's what you do. Ardha Navasana, we hover. But maybe that is with bent knees. Perhaps you put your feet down on the ground. And then up we float. Navasana. Remember, it can be here, right? We'll do that a couple times. Ardha Navasana. We pause. Bring it back up. Navasana. Ardha Navasana. And then Navasana. Adding on this time, Ardha Navasana. Right leg reaches. You got a few options here. You can lie down with your head if you need it or want it. You can put your hands behind your head. You can always bend the left knee and stamp the left foot on the ground. That can be really helpful. Right leg is moving a little bit forward. Right side of the waist feels long. We have a few breaths like this. Oh, hi, 4th helping of pasta during Tiger King last night. Don't even get me started. Last few breaths like this. Stay down here, just switch it out. Left leg goes up. We can bend the right knee, stamp the right foot into the ground. It's up to you. Maybe right about now, the idea of putting your hands behind your head feels like a good idea. Or lying your head down could be a very good idea right about now. See if you can make that space on the left side of your waist. 3 breaths here. We're going to take the hands behind the head, maybe they're there already, and then just scissor. Scissor like you're skating on the ceiling. And it could be that you now drop that bottom foot down. And you can do that on each side. Lift your chest to the sky. Let your elbows stay wide. And keep breathing. For 3. And for 2. Now last one, we're going to go side to side. And then right leg stays up. Stamp your left foot into the ground. Cross right ankle on top of left knee. Bring your right hand onto your belly and keep your left hand where it is. Exhale, left elbow towards right knee. Inhale, lie it down. You can actually feel the obliques under your hand. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Great. Exhale. And inhale one more time. Exhale. Lie it down, let your neck get a little bit of a break and take your right leg up to the sky. You can leave this architecture in place or pick up the left foot maybe even extend it, and we'll twist outside that right leg. So we're still in the same oblique, it's just a different structure. Totally optional, right leg goes down, and then back up. Twice more maybe, right leg down, and then back up. Last one, right leg down, and then back up. Now we're gonna cross, left ankle behind right ankle, bend your knees, hands behind your head. Exhale the two ends together. Inhale, tap it down. Exhale, and inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Last one like this, exhale. Tap it down. Right foot stance, left ankle on top of right knee. Left hand on your belly. Exhale, right elbow, left knee. Inhale, lie it back. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Twice more slowly. Exhale. And inhale. And then last time, exhale. And inhale. Now take your left leg up to the sky. You can keep this happening, or pick up that right foot, maybe even hover it. Twist outside of your left leg. This is plenty. You could keep a hand behind the head if that's helpful. Remember, it's optional. Left leg down and back up. Twice more. Left leg down and back up. One more time. Great. Down the middle. Now cross right ankle behind left ankle. Bend the knees. Hands behind your head. Exhale the two ends together. Inhale, tap it down. Exhale. And inhale. Twice more. Exhale. And inhale. And then last one. Exhale. Great. Tap it down. Uncross your ankles. Reach your arms forward. This is plenty. You could put your feet down on the ground or start to straighten a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and hover. Ardha Navasana for 3 and for 2. We're going up to Navasana, and you're going to plant your feet hip distance, turn your fingers to face you, lift your heart up, and then lift your hips up, table pose. You can drop your head back if you want to. Mostly I want a little extension through the hips after quite a bit of flexion in that area. Great. You're going to lower your hips to your mat, hug your knees. We're going to rock and roll till we make our way back into that chair pose that got us into this mess in the first place, you might remember. You can do it without hands or with hands, it's all good. Then make this a Malasana full squat. So just step your feet a little bit wider. Great. You can remain with this Malasana full squat. It's a relative of our cross-legged seat also. Or play around a little bit with Bakasana, crow pose. Hands go flat, feet will come a little bit closer to each other. You'll look forward, shift forward, and think about maybe taking one foot or both feet off of your mat. There might be some of you guys who get really fancy pants with this and you shoot it to a handstand, or you go to and from a tripod headstand. So have at it and send me pictures. You're not going to see that here. Then we'll put our feet down on the ground and join our friends in Malasana. And in Malasana, we'll just take a second, right hand down and left arm up. If you want to take a bind, you can do that. Might be helpful to sit on a block or two, or even to throw your cushion underneath your heels. We're not here a long time. We're going to come back to center. Left hand down, right arm up. Maybe a bind. And this is kind of educating something that I have up my sleeve for you later. So you can just sort of let this dance with those arm things that we did in our seated cross-legged position and know that they're going to serve us later. We're going to come down the middle and either stay like this or interlace all but the index finger. Take your arms up to the sky. We're going to take a slow 5 count to stand all the way up. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. Stand into your mountain. Chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. Take a vinyasa, so step back or float back. You can always skip these vinyasas and just take it to downward facing dog if that's better. You can add your extra chaturangas if you're digging those. We're going to step the right foot forward, spin the back foot flat, warrior one, and we'll open it out to warrior two. Now in warrior two, we were kind of hinting at this earlier, we still have the ghost of the seated cross-legged position happening in our right hip. We're upright, standing as if we were in our mountain. The outer edge of that back foot is solid, and the inner arch, the medial arch, is lifted. And it's like information all the way up the inseam of that back leg. We've done our core work, so we can stand tall and really feel the core of our conviction. And you can sort of imagine that you're trying to convince your right thigh bone to go towards the right side of your mat while we're here. And we'll take just a few breaths like this. Now, we're going to take the move we did earlier. Forearm across the thigh, top arm up and over. Now just notice the samskara, the habits that you might visit. For a lot of us, it's like the collapse into that right shoulder. Find a little karate chop, make a little bit of space. It's all just us tinkering in our laboratories. It's not like anything's bad or wrong. It's just some discovery, which is pretty great. We have a few more breaths like this. How's it going with that back foot? Last two. Now left arm up to the sky, upright into warrior two again. And you want to see if you can find that emphasis into the heel of the right foot. It's going to turn on the hamstring muscles, the muscles of the back of your leg. So it's not just these quadriceps that are having to do all the work. You're also using your glutes when you move that thigh bone to the right. So you're incorporating and recruiting more muscles by finding that. Right palm to the sky, reversing our warrior. You can take the hand down the leg or swoop it behind your back, it's up to you. And then just imagine that you're making more space between your ASI as your right hip bone and your right thigh bone. So you're kind of going up and over a barrel. It doesn't feel like there's a collapse anywhere. A couple more breaths here. And then we're going to come back to warrior two. 3 breaths here. Then just cartwheel your hands to your mat and let it become a vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. Might occur to you as something that you want to go to at some point. Perhaps you add that chaturanga. And then we head to side 2. Left foot forward, Virabhadrasana 1. And then we'll open out to Virabhadrasana 2. Pardon my back on this side. Now just see if you can build it from the ground up. So you're going to feel the inner arch lift, the outer edge press. That left heel is solid. You're incorporating the hamstring muscles. You feel evidence of our seated cross-legged and even that modified Vashisthasana that we found. You're really tall in the saddle. You feel the circumference of the abdominals that we did. And the more that you coerce your left thigh bone to the left, the more that you can feel yourself recruit those glutes. The spinal erector muscles, the muscles along your spine, feel inspired and tall. Your gaze could go out of your left middle finger, over towards the right side of the room. You can even close your eyes if that's helpful. 5 more breaths here in Vira 2. Not to give away the surprise, but we're going to turn this into a flow eventually, and that's when you guys get to turn up your playlists and not have to hear me talk so much. Left forearm across the thigh, top arm up and over. And now you've got a little tool to use towards that coercion of the left thigh bone to the left and to rotate the ribs to the sky. So we, out of habit, kind of collapse. See if you can note the habit, not scold yourself for it, and then learn something new. It's part of the mud, isn't it? It's what brings us to the lotus. 3 more breaths here. Great, right arm goes up to the sky, and then we're upright once again in our Virabhadrasana 2. Incidentally, if you need to straighten and rebend your knee, go for it, anytime. Modify away. If you've got ways that you amplify, amplify away. And then we're going to reverse this, so left palm to the sky. And either right hand down the thigh or right arm behind your back. So maybe at this angle, if you're curious what that means, you can find it. And then this is the ASIS I was talking about, your left hip bone and your left thigh bone. You want to make that spacious so it doesn't feel like a collapse anywhere. We're still using our core work. It's not a separate event. It's a really important part of the soup. Back to warrior 2. Pause for 3. And then hands to your mat. Dismount as you please. So maybe through that vinyasa, and maybe just a down dog. I don't mean just, but you get it. You could add your extra chaturanga if it's your thing. Right foot forward, warrior 1. And then open out, warrior 2. So this is where we flow that. Forearm across the thigh, top arm up and over. Back to warrior 2. Flip your right palm. Reverse your warrior. Back through warrior 2 and then a vinyasa, or right to downward facing dog. We'll do it a few times together. Left side, left foot forward, back foot flat, warrior 1. Open it out to warrior 2. Forearm across the thigh, top arm up and over. Back to warrior 2. Reverse your warrior. Back through warrior 2 in a vinyasa, or straight to downward facing dog. Great. Right foot steps, warrior 1. Open out. Warrior 2. Forearm across the thigh, top arm up and over. Back to warrior 2. Reverse your warrior. Back to warrior 2. Vinyasa, or straight into downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, warrior 1. Open out, warrior 2. Forearm across the thigh. Back to warrior 2, and we reverse. Warrior 2, and then vinyasa, or straight into down dog. You can start turning up your playlist right about now from your Apple Watch. Right foot forward, warrior 1. Open out, Vira 2. Forearm across the thigh. Warrior 2, reverse your warrior. Back through warrior 2 in a vinyasa, or straight into your dog. I'll talk you through this second side. I'll keep doing it, but I'm going to leave you in silence. Left foot forward, warrior 1. Open out, warrior 2. Forearm across the thigh. Back to warrior 2, reverse it. Back to warrior 2, and then vinyasa, or straight into dog. So I'll keep doing it here, but I'm going to be silent as I do. You can glance up and follow along, or just make up something even cooler. Follow your breath. starting my second side. That doesn't mean that you have to be. When I'm done with the second one, I'm going to meet you in down dog. That's where we'll meet up. Take a few breaths here in down dog. You can always turn that into a child's pose. I'd be wildly impressed if that's what you were up to right now. We're going to step the right foot forward into Virabhadrasana 1 and open out to Warrior 2. And this time we'll reverse the warrior and we'll start to straighten the front leg really slowly, pressing into that right big toe mound. And we'll make it triangle, so up and over into Trikonasana. If you've got a block, great, or something that you're using for a block, you can take it to the outside of the right foot. Left arm up and over to start. And this too looks an awful lot like something we did on our shin. And that's how let me go. See if there are habits like shoulder into the ear. I know that's a big one for me. Right shoulder in particular. That you can note and then find a little space around. We're going to take the left arm up and then take that left arm behind our back. And this is plenty. If you love taking your bottom arm out in front of you, palm to the sky, you can do that. This action that's happening in the thoracic spine is sort of like what we talked about in Malasana. And it might come in handy a little bit later. Bring your right hand down on your block if you're still reaching that right arm. Look down, half bound, Ardha Chandrasana. So you'll move your block about a foot out in front of your right pinky toe. Right hand down, left arm stays behind your back for the time being. You're just remembering that leverage of the forearm across the thigh in our Warrior 2 dance that we did, and letting that be true here. So it's really tempting to collapse your chest to the ground. See if you can notice that, and then just make some improvements. It's not a judgment, it's all good. We're tinkering in our laboratories, moving through our mud. And just float that left arm up to the sky in your full regalia of your Ardha Chandrasana. If you're a Chavasana person, you can use that arm behind the back kind of idea to hold the pinky toe side of the foot and kick it back behind you, like a little back bend that's parallel to the ground. You're under no obligation to do that unless you love it. Three breaths here. Now it's kind of tricky, so I want you to be really tuned in when we do it. Warrior 2 is where we're headed. So all the way back to Virabhadrasana 2. It's kind of a blind move and you'll land it. It's a familiar place. We've been here a few times today. Then you're going to take your right hand on the inside of your right foot and the left arm behind your back. A half bind is perfect. Some of you will take the right arm underneath and do the full bind. Totally great to just have the hand on the block. This is one, a big one, where I see a lot of people sticking their butt out and collapsing their chest just to hold the fingers. Not really kind of what we're up to. You want to find the cross-legged seat. You're kind of copying a feel with your hands right now against your glute, your right glute. Feel that draw back and down. And then just lengthen on your inhale through the spine. And on your exhale, this is the same thing as this forearm thing that we did in our dance. It's just a little deeper. 3 breaths here. warrior two. And then we're gonna straighten that front leg. Turn and face the long edge of your mat. And then step your feet a little wider than hip distance. And then I'm gonna mirror you again. So you're gonna take your right hand through the center and interlace, kind of like you were maybe doing moments ago, but for a lot of us this is really tricky. So you can find your towel, you can fake it like we did with these arm things at the very beginning, and you're just gonna start to turn your chest. So in your case, towards the left. Again, I'm mirroring you. This is plenty. You don't have to go anywhere but here. It's brilliant. Maybe step your left foot in, come onto your right toes, and stand it up. Woo, boy. And make your way into your bird of paradise. So you can stand with the knee bent. You could stand up and bring yourself into tree pose, or just stay with our forward fold that we were in, is great. Once you're standing upright, you're probably a lot more balanced than I am. You can straighten that leg out for the full bird of paradise. Great. Then you'll bend your knee if you're doing that. Release it down, flop like a little rag doll, hands to the ground. We're all in it together. Hands on your hips, firm your belly, and come up to standing. Great. Step to the front edge of your mat. Feet together or hip distance. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. If there's some sort of arm balancy something or a handstand that you love throwing in with these, you can do it. We'll end up in downward facing dog. Then we're going to step the left foot forward, come up into warrior one, and then open out Virabhadrasana 2. We'll reverse our warrior, and this time super slowly straighten that front leg. Really ground into that big toe knuckle. We'll come up and over. Incorporate a block, if that makes sense in your practice, to the outside of the left heel. Left hand down, right arm up and over. And then just check it out. See what your habits are. Meet yourself where you are. Rotate those bottom ribs to the sky. Even here, some people like to take both arms to the front, to the front edge of their mat. That kind of deal. Have at it. Two more breaths here. We're going to float the right arm up, and then we're going to weave it behind our back. Yeah? Some people like to take the bottom arm and reach it. We're good like this. Just see if you can convince a little bit of rotation through the spine. Not really your neck so much as that middle band of the spine, the forgotten wasteland of our shoulder blade area. It wants a little attention and love. Now if you took the left hand forward, return it to your block or to the ground or your ankle or whatever you're using. Half bound, Ardha Chandrasana. We'll step it up. Left hand on your block. Right arm behind your back for the time being, just so it gives us a little bit of a roadmap to rotating the torso, not just utilizing the arm, but rotating the torso to the sky. And then open that top arm up. You're already there. It's like the cherry on top. It doesn't define the pose, your arm. It just is like the exclamation point. And then if you're a Chapasana person, you can bend that knee and hold on to the pinky toe side of the foot and create that little back bend if you want to. Last 3 breaths here. Great, let go of the foot if you have it. Remember that we're heading all the way back to warrior 2. So get your druthers about you and then step it back. Virabhadrasana 2. We'll take the left hand on the inside, right arm behind the back. The half bind is all you need. You're copping a feel on that glute, and you're feeling like you're directing the head of the femur, so that thigh bone back and down, as if you were kind of drawing it towards that right heel. If you want to do the full bind, that's fine, but not needed unless it's in your repertoire and you feel like you're really finding those coordinations the way that we want. Last few moments here. And then we bring it up. Right arm up to the sky, Virabhadrasana, 2. Great, and then you'll straighten the leg. I'm gonna turn around and face you. You'll just turn to the long edge of your mat and step your feet a little wider, then hip distance apart. And then take your left hand to space, as if you were gonna do that same interlace that we hinted at, or maybe some of you did in your Warrior 2. And then you're looking to think about straightening your left leg, and it's going to be ornery. It's not going to want to do that. So, just as much as possible, you let that straighten a little bit. You turn your chest towards the right. If you're a bird of paradise type, you're going to step your right foot in this time, come onto the left toes, and stand it up. And then maybe even straighten the leg out to the side. So if that's in your bag of tricks, have at it. The rest of us are going to be here enjoying our forward fold. Just a couple more moments. And then release, ragdoll your hands to your mat. Heel toe your feet together, or hip distance chair pose. Hands into a prayer. Great. And then you're gonna hook your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh. Again, I'm mirroring you here. So Utkatasana twist. You could sit down on a couple of blocks if you'd like to. Some of you like to sit down and actually take the twisting arm balance while we're here. So have at it. Maybe left hand down and right arm up. Couple breaths here. We're almost done with our standing stuff in case you're getting nervous. But I mean, what else are we gonna do today? You know? And then come down the middle, chair pose, stand it up, and pause in your mountain. Other side, bend your knees, chair. Hands in a prayer, right elbow outside the left thigh. Perhaps you sit down on a couple of blocks. Some of you guys are gonna be arm balancing. A few of you, right hand down and left arm up to the sky. Two more breaths here. Down the middle, chair pose, stand it up. Arms along your side. Make your way to the front edge of your mat. Last little standing business. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward, vinyasa if you'd like, or straight to down dog if it's better. You're gonna reach your right leg up to the sky here in your downward facing dog. And then right knee, right arm. Maybe you take an arm balance, but a lot of us are gonna stay in plank with our right knee against our right arm for a moment. All of us are gonna bring the knee to the chest, step it through and come into crescent pose. And then hands in a prayer, and we'll twist this. Feel free to put your back knee down and then to twist it that way. So left elbow on the outside of the right thigh. Many people enjoy binding this pose too. So you can take our little binding theme and sprinkle it into what we're up to now. Last few moments here. It's still that idea of some space between shoulders and ears, between the ribs and the thigh. We're just going to take the left hand flat on the ground, and we're going to come into side plank. So that can look like this, just stack the feet. That can be that you put your left knee down onto your mat. Some of you guys will grab a hold of the right big toe and take that Vashisthasana with the leg to the sky. Lori Risher, your signature move. Stay for a couple moments. You could be full circle into what we started the practice with in this modified Vashisthasana. That's pretty cool if you ask me. Right hand down either chaturanga or straight into down dog. And then last of our standing stuff, left leg reaches behind you. Come forward, left knee, left arm. Maybe it's Ekapada Kundanyasana. I think for the majority of us, just that plank with the knee against the arm is brilliant. Knee down the middle, step it through, crescent or the back knee comes down right away. Hands in a prayer, right elbow hooks outside the left thigh. And you find whatever variation it is that you love to do. Every inhale you get a little longer. Every exhale is a little loving nudge into your twist. Last 3 breaths here. We untangle this, right palm flat. Maybe grab the big toe. A lot of us are going to make it a full circle experience into the first pose that we did in our practice. So that can be that modified Vashisthasana, or stack the feet. Top arm can reach overhead if you're stacking feet. Stay with it a couple more moments. I'm going to be tricky on the exit. Forewarned is forearmed. Left hand down, lower to your belly, all the way down. You're going to bend your knees, reach back and find the pinky toe side of your foot. And just make sure that you can see me, not that you really need to, but so it's sort of like the Chapasana some of you did, but both legs at the same time. Go forward with your chest and up, kick the legs back. As a consequence, they'll go up, but you're not trying to overuse the neck and the low back. You want to make this really streamlined and strong and long. Again, you can feel your breath against the ground. 3 breaths here in Dhanurasana. If this is too much on your back, just do something more like this, a Shalabhasana. Take in one more inhale here. Exhale, release. Make a pillow with your hands, and then just windshield wiper your legs side to side for a moment. You could stick with that back bend, the duration would be perfect. Some of you are going to roll over onto your back, plant your feet on the hip distance. It kind of looks like we're headed to that same pose we just did on our belly, but upside down. It's pretty much what we're up to. I like to take the robot arms, shimmy retraction into my shoulder blades, lift your hips up, and then sometimes it's really great to hold the sides of your mat. Feel like you're pulling it apart and pulling it away from your head, or you could interlace, further retract the shoulder blades. Instead of flattening out your neck, lift your chin a little bit. Just imagine that you're honoring the natural curves and inviting the middle band of your back to the back bend party. If you think about it, your neck and your low back are already doing back bends, so we have to kind of let them back off a little bit so that the middle band gets its moment in the spotlight. You could take one of your blocks, place it underneath your tailbone, and stay here in supported bridge the whole time. Or lower down, one hand on your heart, one hand on your low belly. So you could stick with the belly back bends, you could do a supported bridge, or you can kind of trundle along with what we're doing here. Just feel the rise and fall of your breath for a second and the beating of your heart. Great, you could visit one of the things that we've done previously, or turn this into Urdhva Dhanurasana, flip your palms. Maybe pause at the top of your head to plug the shoulders in their sockets and make your way up. If you've got neck stuff, skip the pause on the top of your head, but do keep the shoulders in their sockets so the shoulder heads feel like they're not neglected, they feel connected. 3 breaths here.
Shut off.
connection. There was a little technical something. I'm going to let you play with your back bend stuff. Some of you might want to also get into some inversions. Pinch Mayurasana, handstand, adding the back bends to it. I'm going to do 2 more Urdhva Dhanurasanas. You could be, on your block still in your supported bridge. So up you head. It's kind of like a little bit of free time-ish for you. So if you know that you really want to get to inversions, and we really didn't today, I totally feel you. Go for it. Great. Just take that moment in between them, whatever them is, to really get grounded. Then we'll take 1 more Urdhva. I'm going to take 1 more Urdhva. You'll carry on with what you're up to during that duration, and then we'll meet back up again. I have a lot of pictures of you guys doing inversions that you sent me, so I know that those are important to a lot of you. It's kind of adorable. I love seeing it. And then we'll release it down. If you're still doing your acrobatics, carry on. Do what makes you happy. We're going to be here doing a supine twist. So right knee on top of left knee is kind of how I like to do it. Scoot the hips to the right. Let the knees drop over to the left. You might have some other kind of twist that you love. And then come to center. We'll take that the other way. Scoot your hips to the left. Let your knees drop to the right. From here, you're basically going to pick a pigeon. You could do reclining pigeon, lying on your back. We did something like that in our abdominals. You can take single or double pigeon, seated upright. I'm going to take a single pigeon, and I'm going to use the cushion from my couch to help me out. I just position it underneath my right sit bone. We'll take a few moments, and whatever it is that's hitting the spot for today. Could be that some of you guys that are doing single pigeon make your way at some point to Ekapada Raja Kapotasana, bending your back knee, putting your foot and your head together. Iona will be doing that for us. So that's handled, you don't have to do it. She'll take care of it. Always nice to outsource some of those things, isn't it? If you're looking for a place to focus your mind, you can make your exhales longer than your inhales here. And move in the direction of letting them be twice as long. And then just slowly start to bring yourself out of your first side. Make your way to side 2. Could be that those of you in single pigeon go through down dog or even a vinyasa to do that, and then drop in. You want to kind of think of this as a turn in the road. This is when we kind of begin to get a sense of the lotus. The lotus that comes as a result of the mud. Sometimes the mud is just showing up. And then maybe your exhales are twice as long as your inhales. You can close your eyes. Last few moments here. And then you're going to slowly bring yourself out of that side and find Paschimottanasana. So you can extend your legs out in front of you. Classically, they like the toe knuckles to touch. Realistically, maybe hip distance is better. You can sit on your cushion again. The thing is we want to stay away from a whole ton of flexion so we can actually move in, let our hips be hips, right? Fold at the hips. Just think of bowing to yourself, to your mud, to your practice, to each other. And we're here together from all around the world, which is just about as cool as it gets. Inhale and come all the way upright, and exhale into our Shavasana. If there's something that you love proppage wise, you can do it. If there's something you need to get to so that Shavasana feels like it's set up nicely, do that. And then just fall into the floor. Let your bones feel heavy. Muscles feel like liquid. Shavasana. course, welcome to stay here in Shavasana as long as you'd like. If you're ready to start to make your way out, let an inhale, reach your arms for a stretch overhead. Gather up your knees into your chest. Roll to either side. And then make your way up to a comfortable seat. It could be full circle to our first cross-legged seat. And then just bring a prayer in front of your heart and let your eyes close for a moment. As we trudge through the mud out there, we have the opportunity to find our lotus, the wisdom and insight. I know for me, just priorities getting really clear in this time. And we have each other to trudge through the mud with, just like we did in this practice. Bring your prayer to your forehead for quality of thought, to your mouth for quality of speech, and then back to your heart for quality of action. Shining the light of our yoga through what we think, what we say, and what we do, and then bow your chin to your chest. I'm so grateful to you for practicing here all together. It's an honor and a privilege. Namaste. Thanks, you guys. Send me pictures, tag me. I love us getting to share and see where we're from. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't yet, at Andrea Marcum. And we're doing this again Saturday at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So I hope that you can tell your friends to join us and join us then. Thank you so much. Namaste.